Last week, I got this comment that said, these horror movies aren't even scary. I would've survived. Well, that got me thinking. After analyzing hundreds of horror films, I've found 10 that came out this year that nobody can survive. Not the smart ones, not the strong ones, nobody. And the most terrifying one, it's not what you think. In fact, it's so disturbing, I almost didn't include it in this video. Before you type, not me though, in the comments, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because if you think these movies are survivable, my sleep paralysis demon and I have a bridge to sell you. Speaking of which, did you just see something move behind me? But if you think you could beat these horror movies, then you should check out my Patreon I just launched, where I'm putting one premium episode a week out on of even more disturbing horror movies that you would not survive against. It's $7.50 a month. Thank you to everyone that supports me. But let's talk about Night Swim, the movie that's about to make your backyard pool look like a portal to hell. You know those oddly satisfying pool cleaning videos on TikTok? Yeah, this isn't that. This is what happens when your pool decides it's had enough of your Marco Polo bullshit. So this family moves into their dream home, complete with what looks like the perfect pool. You know the type, crystal clear water, fresh liner, basically screaming nothing horrifying could possibly happen here. Spoiler alert, everything horrifying happens here. At first, it's subtle. A ripple here, a shadow there. Maybe the pool light flickers when nobody's touching the switch. Normal pool stuff, right? Just like how it's normal when your toaster unplugs itself and slides across the counter. Nothing to see here. But here's when it gets properly messed up. This pool isn't just haunted. It's got a higher body count than when I'm ripping through GTA 5. And trust me, that's saying something. It's been collecting souls since before an Instagram pool aesthetic was even a thing. So let me break down why you're absolutely done for. 1, the water itself is alive, and it's not in like a fun Finding Nemo way. 2, it can reach you through any water source in the house. And 3, it learns your patterns better than China does from spying on your TikTok watch history. And 4, it gets stronger at night because apparently the thing understands dramatic timing. The real nightmare fuel though, this entity isn't just stuck in the pool. Remember that glass of water by your bed? Yeah, maybe don't be drinking that. That relaxing bath you were planning? Congratulations. You just ran yourself a tub of nope. This thing turns every drop of water in your house into its personal hunting ground. Sure, you might think, I'll just never go swimming again. Good plan, except this thing's got better reach than your mom finding your embarrassing baby photos the second you bring home your friends from school. At least the shark from Jaws had the decency to stay in the ocean. But the absolute worst part, it's the moment you realize this isn't just some random haunted pool. You're dealing with something that's been perfecting its killing technique since before humans even invented swimming pools. It's basically got a PhD in drowning, and you just enrolled in its master class. But if you think death by pool is bad, wait until you see what happens when Mother Nature decides to remind us why we invented houses. Speaking of nature being terrifying, in a violent nature is about to make sure you never want to step foot in the woods again. You know those people who say, I love hiking, it's so peaceful. Well, this movie is about to make you cancel any hiking trips you have planned with your friends. And trust me, no amount of bear spray is gonna help you here. Meet Johnny. What a cute guy with a cute name. Before you say, oh great, another slasher in the woods, let me stop you right there. This isn't your standard run away from the slow killer situation. Johnny doesn't just chase you, he hunts you. And I mean hunts you. This guy makes Jason Voorhees look like he needs to hit the gym. So let me break down why you're absolutely done for. 1, he knows every inch of these woods better than you know your own house. 2, his strength is absolutely inhuman. We're talking tear you in half strong. 3, he doesn't get tired, he doesn't slow down, he doesn't stop. And 4, your camping experience, that just means you'll die somewhere more remote. The scariest part isn't even his strength, it's his patience. Most killers just rush at you like they're late for a murder appointment. Johnny, he'll track you for hours, watching you make every wrong turn, waiting for you to exhaust yourself. It's like being hunted by someone who's memorized every single tree in the forest and has all the time in the world to watch you panic. Think you can outsmart him? Ha! Good luck. While you're trying to remember which moss grows on the north side of trees, he's already circled around behind you. Your weekend hiking trips didn't prepare you for someone who's turned these woods into their personal slaughterhouse. Sure, you might be thinking, I'll just stay on the marked trails. Congratulations, you just made yourself easier to find. Those trails are basically Johnny's version of DoorDash, delivering farm fresh victims right to his door. But the absolute worst part, the moment you realize he's not just trying to kill you, he's going to make it slow. These aren't quick slasher movie deaths. This is methodical, brutal, and absolutely merciless. I had zero expectations going into this movie, but I was incredibly shocked. There is one kill in this movie that is just, it's downright just insane. It's not believable, but it's just crazy. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It involves someone doing yoga. Johnny doesn't want to just end you. He wants to make you regret every life choice that led you into his woods. But if you think one unstoppable killer is bad, just wait until you see what happens when millions of tiny killers decide your house looks like a good place to lay their eggs. You know those videos where people freak out over a tiny spider? Well, after watching Infested, those people aren't really overreacting anymore. They're the only ones who've got the right idea. And trust me, no amount of catch and release hippie nonsense is gonna save you here. These aren't your friendly neighborhood web spinners. We're talking about desert spiders that somehow ended up in Paris. And apparently, French cuisine wasn't good enough for them. But one bite from these things makes black widows look like they need to step up their game. So let me break down why you're completely done for in Infested. 1. They hunt in coordinated swarms. Imagine if piranhas learned parkour. 2. Their venom doesn't just kill you, it liquefies you from the inside out. You are basically gonna become soup. 3. They can survive almost anything short of nuclear winter. And 4. They're smart enough to cut the power, block exits, and herd their prey like cattle. Yeah, so the truly terrifying part, it's their hunting strategy. Most spiders have the decency to wait in their webs like civilized killers. These things though, they chase you down like they're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty, and they will reach you. Think you can outsmart them? Ha! Well, you're barricading your front door. They're already coming through every vent, crack, and hole you didn't even know existed. Your house might as well look like Swiss cheese for all the good it's doing to you. Sure, you might be thinking, I'll just use bug spray. Congratulations, you've just made them pissed off and wasted your last few seconds of life smelling like lemon fresh death. But here's the absolute worst part. They learn. Every generation gets more lethal than the last. And by the time you figure out how to kill the first wave, their babies have already evolved past your defenses. It's like if someone gave evolution an energy drink and a grudge against humanity. But if you think killer spiders are bad, wait until you see what happens when a late night show books the wrong guest from hell. Literally. And I'm not talking about JoJo Siwa. Remember when the scariest thing on late night TV was Jay Leno's chin? Well, it's 1977 and Jack Delroy's about to turn his failing talk show into hell's favorite primetime special. And trust me, no amount of network censoring was prepared for this broadcast. Jack's ratings are in the toilet. His career's on life support and he's got one last shot at saving his show. His genius plan? A live Halloween special featuring a possessed girl, because nothing boosts ratings like giving Satan his own time slot. Let me break down why this was the worst pitch meeting ever, and I can't believe they went through with it. 1. They're broadcasting live to millions of people. 2. Their special guest isn't just possessed, she's patient zero. 3. The demon's got better stage presence than most celebrities. And 4. There's no kill switch for supernatural broadcasting. At first, it seems like typical talk show schlock. You know, the usual "my child is possessed" episode that would make Jerry Springer proud. But then things start happening that definitely weren't in the rehearsal. This isn't your standard, oh, they bent a spoon routine. This is something that makes The Exorcist look like Sesame Street. Here's the truly terrifying part. In 1977, most households had one TV, and everyone watched the same shows. The demon isn't just performing for a studio audience. It's got millions of Americans tuned in. It's basically running the world's deadliest Nielsen rating survey. Sure, you might think, I'd just turn off the TV. Yeah, good luck with that. This thing's got better control over your television than your dad fighting for the remote during football season. But the absolute worst part, the moment when you realize this isn't just a broadcast, it's a mass seance. Every viewer becomes part of the show, whether they want to or not. And trust me, this is one performance where you really don't want to be part of the live studio audience. But if you think demonic TV is bad, wait until you see what happens when a pop star's smile becomes literally killer. You know how creepy it is when someone stares at you when they're smiling? Well, this movie is about to make every smiling face feel like a death sentence. And trust me, you're never gonna look at your friend's Instagram selfies the same way again. Meet Sky, a rising pop star who should be worried about record sales and paparazzi. Instead, she's dealing with an entity that makes career-ending scandals look like a vacation. This thing doesn't care about your social media presence. It wants to make you witness something so horrifying that death feels like mercy. Let me break down why you're absolutely done for against the smile demon. 1. The entity spreads through witness trauma. And in the social media age, everyone's watching. Keep note of that because it's a very important plot point that leads to Smile 3. 2. Every smiling face could be your last sight on Earth. 3. The more people who witness it, the faster it spreads. And 4. You can't tell which smiles are real anymore. So here's the truly terrifying part. It doesn't just appear randomly. It studies you, learns your patterns, figures out exactly when you'll be most vulnerable, then it shows up wearing the face of someone you trust with that unnaturally wide smile that makes your fight or flight response hit the panic button. Think crowds would keep you safe? Aha, it's exactly where it thrives. Every person who witnesses someone die becomes its next target. It's like a cosmic game of tag where being it means you're already dead. You just don't know it yet. Sure, you might think I'll just avoid looking at people. Cute plan, except this entity makes sure you can see exactly what it wants you to see. That random person across the street, your best friend, your own reflection, any of them could be your personal harbinger of doom. But the absolute worst part, the moment when you realize everyone around you is smiling. Not normal smiles, those wide, dead-eye, unnatural grins that tell you it's already too late. And once you've seen it, you're next on its list. It's like death decided to become a social media trend and you just got tagged. But if you think deadly smiles are terrifying, wait until you see what happens when Nicolas Cage, yes, I'm being serious, decides to make serial killing an art form. You know how Nicolas Cage usually plays those wild, unhinged characters? Well, in Longlegs, he goes for something different, quiet, methodical, and absolutely terrifying. Because when Nick Cage decides to whisper instead of scream, you know you're in for something truly disturbing. We follow FBI rookie Agent Lee Harker tracking what seems like your standard serial killer case. Except nothing seems standard when your suspect treats murder like it's a form of dark art. And trust me, this isn't the kind of art you want hanging in your living room. Let me break down why this case is absolutely unsolvable. 1. Every murder scene is meticulously crafted like a twisted masterpiece. 2. The more evidence you find, the less sense everything makes. 3. He's already 10 steps ahead, turning investigators into unwilling participants. And 4. Each killing is part of something much bigger and much worse. Here's the truly horrifying part. He's not just killing randomly. Most serial killers have a body count. This one's creating a body symphony. Every victim, every scene, every tiny detail is precisely placed. It's like if Da Vinci decided to quit painting and start a murder spree. Think you could catch him? While you're collecting evidence and following procedure, he's already turned your entire investigation into part of his grand design. You're not following clues, you're following his script. Sure, you might think, I'm trained for this. Congratulations, your FBI training is about to be as useful as a screen door on a submarine when your killer's playing 4D chess with human lives. But the absolute worst part, the moment you realize you're not dealing with a regular serial killer, you're dealing with someone who's turning death into a doorway. The more you investigate, the wider that door opens. Every piece of evidence you collect isn't bringing you closer to catching him, it's bringing something else closer to catching you. But if you think an artistic serial killer is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when the Catholic Church accidentally kickstarts the apocalypse. You know how the original Omen made everyone terrified of creepy kids? Well, this prequel is about to make you terrified of the people who were supposed to stop them. Because when the Catholic Church decides to play supernatural Tinder, they don't just break their own rules, they break everything. Meet Margaret, our naive American nun who thinks she's in Rome to help orphans. Poor Margaret, she's about to learn that some orphanages don't need donations. They need an exorcist. And trust me, this goes way deeper than just a few sketchy priests with bad intentions. Let me break down why this conspiracy is absolutely unstoppable. 1. The entire church is in on it. 2. Every accident is actually carefully orchestrated. 3. Your allies keep having convenient crises of faith. And 4. The people you're fighting against literally wrote the book on hell. Here's the truly terrifying part. The church isn't trying to prevent the Antichrist's birth. They're running the world's most blasphemous dating service to make it happen. Imagine if Tinder's goal was literally bringing about the apocalypse. Think you could expose them? Yeah, like to who exactly? When the people running the conspiracy can literally claim to speak for God, your evidence folder might as well be filled with crayon drawings. Sure, you might think, I'll just record everything. Great plan, except every time you get close to proof, someone has a sudden urge to take a vow of silence. Permanently. But the absolute worst part, the moment you realize that everything that's happening is exactly what they wanted. Every prayer, every investigation, every attempt to stop them, it's all just making their prophecy stronger. You haven't been fighting evil. You've been its unpaid intern. And now you're too deep in their divine HR nightmare to do anything but watch as they welcome hell's new heir. But if you think the evil priests are bad, wait until you see what happens when a vampire decides to turn a kidnapping into her own personal revenge tour. You know those heist movies where something goes wrong and the crew has to improvise? Well, this crew is about to learn that kidnapping a vampire is like bringing a knife to a nuclear war. And trust me, their severance package is going to be brutal. Our professional kidnappers think they've hit the jackpot. One rich family's ballet-loving daughter, locked in a secure mansion. What they don't know is that Abigail's been perfecting her dance of death for centuries, and they just volunteered to be her backup dancers. Let me break down why these idiots are absolutely done for. 1. Their target has been killing longer than their entire family tree has been alive. 2. Every escape route they planned is part of her choreography. 3. Their weapons might as well be party favors. And 4. The security system they set up, it's keeping them in, not her. Here's the truly terrifying part. She orchestrated the whole thing. These master criminals think they're Ocean's 11 when they're actually just Uber Eats for a vampire. And she's been craving a very specific kind of takeout. Think you could overpower her? Yeah, okay. While you're playing checkers with your tactical gear and guard shifts, she's playing 4D chess with your vital organs. She's got moves that would make John Wick ask for a timeout. Sure, you might think we've got strength in numbers. Congratulations, you've just given her a variety pack. It's like bringing a menu to something that's already decided you're all going to be different courses in her tasting menu. But the absolute worst part, when you realize this isn't about feeding, it's about entertainment. She's not just going to kill you, she's going to turn your last moments into her own private performance art. And after centuries of practice, she's got her routine down to the science. Think Swan Lake meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you're not getting an encore. But if you think a vampire's dance recital is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when daddy issues take a very literal turn. You know how people say you need to face your trauma? Well, this movie takes that advice literally, because when grief manifests itself physically, it doesn't just haunt you emotionally. It crawls up your walls wearing your dead father's face. Meet Isaac and Laura, a stepson and stepmom trying to process their loss. But their grief isn't just showing up in normal ways like crying or looking at old photos. No, it's showing up as something that makes Sigmund Freud's worst theories look like bedtime stories. Let me break down why they're absolutely destroyed, and that if you were in that position, you would be too. 1. Their grief has literally grown legs. Lots of them. 2, it wears their dead loved one's face like a mask. 3, it knows every secret they've kept from each other. And 4, running from it is like trying to outrun your own shadow. Here's the truly terrifying part. It's not just some random monster. This thing is their unprocessed trauma doing CrossFit. I think it's also an alien too, but that's not super duper clear. Every repressed memory, every unspoken regret, every bit of guilt, it's all there, skittering across their ceiling like the world's worst family photo. Think you could therapy your way out of this? Good luck processing your emotions when they're physically chasing you down the hallway. It's like if your conscience grew legs and decided to become an Olympic sprinter. Sure, you might think, I'll just move houses. Brilliant plan, except this thing isn't attached to the building. It's attached to your emotional baggage. We all know that follows you better than your Instagram algorithm does. But the absolute worst part, the moment you realize you're not fighting some supernatural entity, you're fighting yourself. Every time you see it, it's showing you exactly what you've been trying to forget. And unlike your regular nightmares, this one doesn't end when you open your eyes. But if you think facing your trauma is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when space truckers find something that makes family therapy look like a daycare. You know how everyone complains about their toxic workplace? Well, Rain Carradine's about to make your micromanaging boss look like a saint, because when Wayland Yutani's involved, deadly work environment isn't just an HR complaint, it's a literal job description. Our crew thinks they've found their ticket to freedom: steal some cryopods from an abandoned station called Renaissance. But here's the thing about Wayland Yutani's abandoned stations. They're never really abandoned. They're just waiting for the next batch of lab rats. Let me break down why you and they are completely doomed. 1. The xenomorphs have turned the station into their personal hunting ground. 2. Every escape route is either sealed, destroyed, or crawling with death. 3. Their only weapons might as well be water pistols against these things. And 4. The company's watching everything like it's their favorite reality TV show. Here's the truly terrifying part. These aren't your standard aliens. Wayland Yutani's been playing genetic engineer, and now these things hunt smarter, move faster, and kill quicker. It's like if evolution took performance enhancers and decided to speed run Apex Predator status. Think you could outmaneuver them? Ha, while you're checking your motion tracker, they're already setting up kills that would make a special forces team quit on the spot. These things don't just hunt, they calculate. Sure, you might think I'll just wait for a corporate rescue. Congratulations, you've just nominated yourself for their next experiment. The company's idea of a rescue mission involves more nukes than paperwork. But the absolute worst part, when you realize this whole situation isn't even an accident. Every locked door, every malfunctioning system, every dead end, it's all part of their test. You're not fighting for survival, you're just data in their quarterly report. And these results, they're written in blood. And don't even get me started on if you're pregnant and have to deal with this thing, because that's a whole other plot in this movie that is really messed up. There you have it, 10 movies that would absolutely destroy you no matter how many horror films you've survived from your couch. So, do you really think you could still survive these? Well, prove it. Tell me in the comments exactly how you'd make it out alive. Hit the like button if you want more nightmare fuel, and don't forget to subscribe, or else I will show up in your bedroom as your sleep paralysis demon. And then click the video on the screen right here to watch more videos about horror movies you definitely wouldn't survive.